Hey everyone, this is Dwayne Golden. Let me adjust my mic because I know sometimes it's pretty loud. And good to see you guys also. As I see many of you here, and specifically the private message, Paul, Renee, Bill. You guys are awesome. It's good to see everyone here, though. You know, Joanne, Don, Arch, Froxy, AG, Vern. Man, it's been a while. Good to see you also, Gary, Lyle. I'm just greeting everyone because I like to do that, particularly if it's been a while. Typically, we do our webinar Fusion Pro call on Monday nights, but tonight we're doing it. This week we're doing it on Tuesday, simply because last night was not a good fit with a lot of stuff that's going on. So all that being said, Lubbock, Texas, my good friends from Lubbock. Good to see you here also as we get ready to get going tonight. Understand this tonight. We reached back through and scanned over questions related to your successful webinars. We're going to be talking about that tonight, going over the top 5 responses to your questions. Not sure how many of you all live in the Florida area. We'll be in West Palm Beach, Florida for an event coming up on October 23rd and 24th, internet marketing event where we're going to go over a lot of the things that we do. You don't want to miss that. So when you either get an email about it and or see it on the web somewhere, you'll want to register. Now, hey, Dwayne Golden Jr., what's happening, man?
What's up? What's up, guys? Ready to rock and roll.
So, what I don't want to make you guys wait, and like I said, it's good to see you already. We're going to talk about, this idea of having a converting webinar, and we've taken your questions, and we're going to be answering them live tonight in front of you. Now, let me just say this before we go any further. We already know that just looking at the last 7 days of webinars, I want to say there was about between 18 and 20,000 different webinars out there. But as we know, many of those webinars are a lot of the same people that use webinars. I want you guys to get this clue. They do it because it works. So they don't just do it once. They always doing it. And in fact, we're so ridiculously crazy ourselves. There is every day around the clock a webinar playing somewhere, whether it's recording, an anytime link, or something all the time. And there's a reason why. Webinars can convert if you're doing it to sell, if you know what to do. So we're going to answer those questions. We're going to be talking about what to do in webinars that doesn't just give information. An informative webinar will make the speaker feel good, right? But when you actually do a webinar and you are selling something people are looking for, now you both feel good. They're getting what they want and you get what you want. Dwayne Jr., you know it. We could do webinars to talk about how smart we are. That'll be a very short webinar for me anyway, because I'm not so smart.
Right.
But I love doing webinars that will help compel and convey a message that will help people to actually accomplish what they're attempting to do using something that maybe I'm promoting or something that I'm selling, and you guys can do it too. So without further ado, what I'm going to do, Dwayne, I'm going to start by going right into our vMerge and just kind of go over point 1. Excuse me, please. Where, the top 5 questions. Now, of course, there's a lot more questions than that. But the questions, Dwayne Jr., they narrowed down into the same 5, pretty much the same 5 categories, which is why we're doing it this way. Now that I said that, let's go ahead. And Dwayne, looking at number 5, and it's something we deal with, whether it's in a Skype chat, Facebook chat, or someone inboxes us through email. This is the question. Can I really make money on a webinar if I'm not there, if it's not really me who's presenting? And a lot of you guys who are part of our internet marketing Facebook group, you see what you're able to do with webinars that you're not presenting on. If you send people to a JVZoo product and they get there and see a video, you're going to find out that you're not the person presenting on that video. Even a demo video, you'll find the same thing. So webinars are different in that you get all the power. You get every bit of the power. Now, here's what makes it crazy, Junior. I mean, Talk about what we didn't have in the past when it came to webinars. When you put someone else's webinar there, and an offer's made. In the old days, if you ran a webinar, whoever was making the offer, that's who made the money. But what we bring to you with Webinar Fusion Pro, you could put in someone else's webinar, whether it's using a share code or something else. And yes, you can make money, but the crazy part is whoever is actually hosting the webinar, that's who'll get paid. Junior, how different is that compared to what we used to do back when we were running our webinars through GoToWebinar and other means?
No, it's completely different, because before that wasn't possible, man. If you sent somebody to someone else's webinar, you know, like, you weren't getting any money for that. They're keeping all the commission. So the cool part about our system is this: you know, you can use someone else's webinar from the share code and simply add your own link to it. So if somebody has an offer during the webinar, you can switch out their link for yours, and you can keep all the commissions. So yeah, that's a huge difference. And so the answer to that question is yes, it's true. You can make money if you're not presenting. You can never have your face appear on a webinar ever, and you can still make a lot of money using our webinar platform by simply using share codes and putting in the right offer links. So yeah, the answer to that question is yes.
There's good news and there's bad news. The good news is once you find a webinar that works, you have no limits. You could run it every day if you like. It would just work. The bad news is, if in fact you're on the bleachers, but you're not really in the game, you love having a webinar system. You've had a webinar system for years. You've even had ours for 6 or 7 months. You've been doing your thing, but you've never done one. You haven't hosted one with someone else's video in it. You don't use it at all. Guess what? The bad news is your question, the answer is no, you cannot make money on a webinar if you're not presenting, if you don't set it up. That's the bad news. So the question has 2 answers. Of course you can make money. We do it all the time. I don't have a problem. If you have a successful webinar that you do, I have no problem running it in my system, right, under my account, and I'll put my own affiliate link in there. But the sad truth is many of you never leave first base. So this question has a negative response for you, and that is no, you cannot make money if you don't use the webinar system. There you go. Good question. I hope that's helpful for you guys since it's asked so often. I'm going to go ahead over to question number 2. By the way, if you can hear us okay and see us okay, type in the number 1 because I don't want you to miss any of this while I'm turning off my fan. My fan's giving me a headache. Now, it might make my screen blurry because I moved in and out, but we'll be okay there. Now, while you are answering, I'm going back over and we're going to go to question number 2. All right, here it goes, Dwayne Jr. Can I set up using the Anytime link if I don't have an Enterprise Edition, Enterprise Plus Edition? You know, that's a great question, and I'm going to come right to you with this one. Sad but true. There are those that have the Enterprise Plus Edition, Dwayne Jr., that have never ever set up a webinar live or recorded. They just have it.
Right.
Right. We've got those who have it all but don't use it and believe in the back of their mind that they have a financial issue or a financial challenge. I'm one of those guys that believes that what you consider a financial challenge isn't a challenge at all. It's just a symptom of a greater problem. You don't maximize what you have. And the answer to this question is absolutely, absolutely. You can set up a set up using an Anytime link if you don't have the Enterprise Edition on someone else's account, but of course you're not going to make money. So
what do you mean by that?
I mean that sitting back, if you're doing nothing, you can watch everyone else and you can say, hey, look, I got this web video, you can run it. But if you want to run one of your own, you cannot. So my biggest thing I'm doing in these answers, Dwayne, I want everybody to realize if they're not using it, none of these questions matter. It's amazing how the questions are being asked. Most of the people that are asking the questions never ran one webinar. What we do is we log into the back of the account of the people that are asking so many of these analytical questions. And what I'm noticing is the people who are running webinars, they're not asking the questions, they're doing it. So the answer is whatever your question is, it's going to be the opposite if you don't use it at all. But if you do use it, the answer is this. The Enterprise edition of the system is for live webinars. Enterprise Plus is to use recorded. If you don't have it, you will only be able to enjoy everyone else's.
Yeah.
You won't be able to have your own where you're making money from it. And the Enterprise Plus edition is imperative if you're going to use recorded, anytime links, if you're going to set up, if you're going to import someone else's recorded webinar, if you're going to take a video from from your own product that you sell, or your JV who's running amazing product, you want to sell that, you will not be able to run that recorded webinar in our system if you don't have Enterprise Plus edition, because those features were created for that level. The cool thing about it is you're not charged monthly like we used to do. We were paying $4.99 a month for our webinar platform. You guys are one-time fee. Maximize it. Get the most out of it, because with our recorded feature, there's no system out there that can do all the things that ours can do. Yeah. And certainly, many of you who are able to earn money using our recorded feature, you know exactly what I'm talking about, particularly those of you that are using our webinars that we actually give you using the share code feature. So, Charles, what do you say, Doc? How you doing tonight, man?
I'm good.
Looking good. You still have the internet's greatest webcam, and that's not going to change, okay? You just got it. Greatest webcam. All right. So, we're going over the top 5 questions, which I know you're already aware of, but we're only on number 2. And before I get to number 3, I want to just go ahead and clarify something. All of these questions could be exciting for you, whatever the answers are. But none of the questions are relevant if you don't use it. It's no different than the person who is suffering tonight from a horrible disease. If they have the cure or answers, solutions for feeling better, or solutions for removing a lot of the symptoms, they don't use it, the questions don't matter. But we're going to answer them anyway and trust that you'll plug into what you've not been using. Let's go ahead. Question number 3 out of the top 5. When I set up my recorded webinar, is that run on YouTube and Google? This is one of those things that doesn't really matter, simply because you are. It's about the outcome that you're looking for. But I will tell you this: your recorded webinars, we host all of them on a cloud. It's not done on the Google Cloud. It's done with an Amazon cloud. This really doesn't matter, but I'm telling you, those of you who have to know something before you can get started with something, it's hosted in an Amazon cloud, and which gives us the ability to certainly include and use in our for your Fusion bot features, where we count down. You can determine what phase of the recorded webinar. You can make an offer, someone can ask a question, or you can show a different phase of the screen. All that's done based on the timing in the recorded webinar. And that recorded webinar cannot be hosted in Google and do that, so we do it with Amazon's cloud. Hope that answers that question. And the live webinars are done using the Google technology, because right now they are still the premier, the standard for using live streaming without so many hiccups. Now, I say that doesn't mean we're not looking at in Webinar Fusion Pro second edition. When we release that, we're looking to release that with a non-Google platform, but that has nothing to do with now. The good thing is, Dwayne Jr. and Charles, you can make money the way it's run right now. We do it all the time. You can do it. Just like we're on this webinar with you. The technology is irrelevant, because you are able to watch us, hear us, and participate, and even see the slides beside us like you cannot do in other webinar platforms, because we created that feature for you. So, that being said, Charles, I mean, I can say enough about how much it really doesn't matter about the technology, but some people become immobilized if they don't have the answer. Do you have anything to contribute to that, whether it's Google for the recording or whether it's another feature, another platform?
Yeah, I mean, all webinar systems are going to do something, do something different. I mean, the thing about this one is, I mean, you've really got the opportunity if you learn it, right? And the thing is that anything that you put a little time into, you're going to be able to get things out of it. You'll probably get things out of it that we don't get, right? And so everything that I have taken and spent time with, whether it's a page system, Whether it's instead of buying 3 or 4 of them, get one, learn it inside and out, and just really start using it. So you've got this. It's paid for. Get the enterprise system, and then just start using it. I mean, if you learn the ins and outs of this, I mean, it can't help but make you money. So again, I would just encourage you, from my own experience, don't go and get another webinar system, and don't worry about what the other ones do. Just learn this one, inside and out, and just use it.
You know, good feedback, Charles, because it really gets down to applying it. Dwayne Jr., I know that I have a question for you, because my big thing tonight is having questions when you're not even utilizing the product. That gets to me. That really does. So let me just go ahead and phrase this for you. You know, the average family has between a $300 to $700 gap between what they require for their monthly budget, or to make their ends meet, and not. And could you kind of I want you to kind of say why it doesn't make a difference if you're able to, let's say on a webinar, make an additional $1,100 to $2,400 on a brief webinar that someone else did or you do. I mean, how much doesn't this technology thing matter? Because I think when I say it, people think I'm exaggerating.
Yeah, you know what it is? So to answer the question, it really doesn't matter. As you guys can see, we're using it effectively on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, really. We're out there making money using the same system. So the Google question is pretty irrelevant because it doesn't have an impact on the amount of sales you make, or an impact on the way your message is delivered. So like you said, a lot of people who are focusing on that type of stuff are the people who aren't doing webinars. So, you know, I think it's about time you guys start focusing on your bottom line rather than the details that really don't mean anything, because it's already being used by a lot of people to make money. And you guys can begin to do the same thing once you can get over yourself and stop worrying about the little things and start focusing on what actually matters, which is like how to do a webinar, how to make sales, instead of worrying about YouTube and Google, because you can't do anything about that anyway. So yeah.
Thank you for the feedback. That's good. That's good feedback. Because at the end of the day, I personally, I'm gonna advise you of something. Before you get into questions about how to use something that's going to help benefit your business, use it first, so you can have some really strong questions that are related to your bottom line, and you don't get distracted with things that just make you feel better. Because the feel better is not where the money comes from. I can't say it enough. And which takes me to this next question. You guys are going to love this next question, because it's this number 2 of the top 5. So here we go. How can I stop the delay so that I get more sales during the close? So here I just gotta break this thing. You know what? It's one of those things where there is no how do I say this? There is no delay unless you're trying to be an attendee and a presenter, which makes no sense at all to me. Because when I ask you guys a question, you actually answer. When you say something to me, I answer. And so it's in real time. As we know, the one thing we know about light and sound, it must travel. Yeah. Regardless of what type of system you're using.
The important thing is, I want to chip in on this, man. The important thing is that your customers are hearing what you're saying on time. It's not like you're talking, your lips are moving, and they're hearing something different. No, they're hearing it in real time. So it's another one of those things, man. You're focusing on the wrong stuff. If your customers are seeing it fine, you got nothing to worry about. All you need to do is focus on your delivery and your close. This technology thing is really a non-issue. As you guys can see, we've sold thousands of webinar, like literally I think over 5,000 sales in Webinar Fusion Pro. We always use this same product. If we're able to do these kind of numbers using this product, there must be something to this. This is a non-issue, so don't focus on it.
Yeah, non-issue, and at the end of the day, it's about the results. And you know what? There's no delay. It's like I said before, it's like being on the radio, calling in on the radio and having the radio turned up. It's not going to work. The important thing is it's going to create feedback and slowing things down. But the way we're doing the webinar, that's how you do it. Just set it up. If you're a presenter, be a presenter. Right? If you're an attendee, be an attendee. Don't be foolish, because you know what? There's a fortune being created every single month that you deserve to be making too, just by plugging it in and realizing that the only real delay that exists is the one between the funds of your attendees and your bank account. the money that they have and it getting to your bank account because you won't do them because you make up such excuses. So, Charles, your feedback on that that top question. It's most often asked people who think that there's a delay. There really isn't one. What do you have to say, my man?
Well, I mean, you still okay. You still got to present, right?
Yeah.
And so you know, whether it's perceived, right? You've got to be able to really to deliver, and everything really does come down to the amount of value you have to offer, and the fact that whether or not whatever you're closing, right? In other words, make sure that what you have is really going to be 10 times the value of what you're really trying to give people. And it really does not matter the other stuff. So what you've got to really focus on, I think even more so than your close and your delivery, is at the start of it, make sure you've got something, first of all, you're excited about, right, that you really want people to see. Second of all, then make sure you really got the value there. And trust me, people will find a way to buy, and you'll find a way to deliver. So I'm going to take a totally different approach to that question, which is do the first things first, and the other things I found always take care of themselves.
Good stuff. You guys heard. You got 3 different perspectives with the same solution. Just do it. Our friends Nike came up with the best solution for you. Just do it. Now, interesting. The last question is the funnest because I love it if it ties to the bottom result, the bottom line. And this question, interestingly enough, comes from the producers, those who do webinars. You know, you've got those who love to attend them, and you've got those who love to attend them and do them. Then you have those who just attend. This question is coming from people who actually do webinars, and I like it, you know, because it shows they're doing it. And there's a challenge here. There's a happy medium. Number 1 question is, when, during my webinar, is the best time to close? When do I cut it off? And I want to touch on this, Charles, because here's what's common. Many people believe that if it's super long, if it's going to take an hour and a half to 2.5 hours, then they can ask for more money. It has nothing to do with that. It's not about the amount of time. It's about the amount of value you can present. When you've gotten to that value, and there's been specific steps that we go over in the Webinar Wealth 101, engaging the customers, engaging the attendees, interacting with them, and making sure that there's participation on both sides. Those are the kind of things that have to happen. If, in fact, it's a brief review or something, hey, 5 to 15 minutes at the most. If it's a content webinar, you know, 30 to 45 minutes maybe. If it's a, hey, come to Jesus talk, where you have to really let go of things, maybe up to an hour. But that's typically it. You close when specific things have been done leading up to it. To find out more about it, Webinar Wealth 101, we go over a specific 5-step formula that has to happen. That's how you do it. But at the same token, it's not about how long it is. I'm amazed at how many people that believe if they just have a long emotional story and everyone on it cries that they're going to make money from it. Unfortunately, there are things that have to happen, but it's not restricted to only time. You can have a successful selling webinars. We've made tens of thousands of dollars just in the last couple of months on 5 and 10 minute webinars.
Yeah.
5 and 10 minute webinars, no lie. And we've had our share of making tens of thousands with the long ones. And I'm here to tell you, don't trap yourself. You don't have to do it. Junior, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, just you have to wait until you've done the right thing. You followed the formula. There's a real science to making sales on webinar. And we went over this before, but if you haven't been in our training, go to webinarwealth101.com right now, and you'll know exactly when you're supposed to close. But you're so right. The amount of time doesn't matter. There's no time where you close. It's just after you follow those other steps in the formula. You don't have the formula, like I told you, webinarwealth101.com. But understand, it's not a time thing at all.
So that to free some of you up who've been waiting to do a webinar because you thought you had to come up with something to talk about for a whole hour. You don't have to do that. You can get on there in 5 and 10 minutes, get to the point of it, show the value of what the product's about, engage your subscribers, your attendees, and you can actually make the offer. Just go ahead and push the button and make the offer show up. You can do that just like that. Charles, I mean, that's a myth. People think church isn't good unless the guy talks for 4 hours. Some think it's not good unless the music plays for 5 hours. Guess what? It really has to do with about meeting the needs of the person on the other end. What do you have to say, bro?
Yeah, that's really, I think, more than anything, what you have to try to do, right? I mean, you've got to really, as best you can, kind of know where people are. If you have an idea where people are, and you're not going to always be able to do that, right? But when you can, and you know where people are, I mean, you really got to try to be real and understand, really bring things. I think, Dwayne talked about a long emotional story, and that's almost part of it. But you really do have to kind of bring things down to where people live. Because, internet marketing is kind of really technical, and it's up here, and you're talking about HTML and all this other stuff, and that's not where people live, right? People really live where they're trying to make car payments, they're trying to live with their, fathead kids, and so, it's all kinds of stuff that they're really living with, and so you've got to really bring what you're doing down to where people are living, and you'll have a lot of success, and you do that every day. Right, and that's what you probably don't realize. That is something that you do every day. When you really want to try to make your point, you really do bring things down to where people are living so that people will get you, so that they'll feel you. And when you can do that, right, you can learn the formulas and you can kind of put some structure to that. But take what you're already doing in life, right? You're already trying to make people understand, and you bring it to where they are. That's a lot of what this really will work for you.
Yeah, well said. If you think about it, it's not like sports. It's a fixed time period, 15-minute quarters, 30-minute halves, whatever. It's not like that at all. You have a lot more control than you actually know. It's like, when did I ask the girl to marry me? Hey, you'll know this time. You don't have to wait 3 years just because someone else did. There's a time thing that you can just sense your way around this deal, but get moving on it. If you don't do webinars, the answer to this question doesn't even matter. If you don't do them, if all you do is attend, you're a professional attender. We're trying to show you something that you too can do this. If you don't like your face and don't want to be on camera, you can do it with our system because we have the best recorded feature in the industry. You can have total control over attendee interaction. You can chat live and show someone else's face. You can have a ball at this thing, but don't sit back, have a ton of questions, and never get started because you know what? You're using the questions to actually have an excuse for why you won't produce. And shame on you if you're doing that because your family deserves better. Now, I said that. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that certainly, when do you close? If we were selling something, we would push an offer button. We're not selling anything tonight, but we want you to know it doesn't have to take an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to the point. Bottom line is, the overwhelming theme and motto for tonight, get going. Get using it. You deserve the results that others are experiencing. You deserve to have something out there every day representing you as an ATM machine that will play and give someone an offer that you've posted. How do I do it? Where does it start? Well, it starts with you just beginning with first things first, as Charles said, to get going. The Webinar Fusion team wishes you all an amazing week as you get on, but we want to encourage you to use it, use it, use it. You can't break it, use it, and abuse it. Make it work for you. This is Dwayne Golden, Charles Harper, Dwayne Golden Jr. wishing you the best. God bless you and your families. Take care.